Sunday evening, Sunday at Mike's, time for that. I was actually playing, actually rather roughly, here waiting past the time, thinking about the time. Um, yeah, how is everybody doing this evening? Good to see you, good to see you make it. Yeah, well, let me put this down so we can begin. How is everybody doing out there? Welcome to Sunday at Mike's. Whether you're watching it live tonight or you're watching the rerun, I want to let you know that I do appreciate it very much that you are watching indeed. Yeah, it's been another week. I don't know how it's been for you guys, but it's been a week and we're starting a new one here. So let's just kind of relax into this and appreciate the time that we have before we have to start another week. However, this week is not well. This not this week, but this weekend coming up. I'm going to be going to Vinendal, and I'm going to be attending the vintage guitar show that they put on there. If you remember, we went back. I believe that was September was when we went to Vinendal last. Or for me, the first time. I told you the story how originally I was supposed to go there right before the C word hit. Hey, Ben, welcome. And that got canceled, and then subsequent, I think it was canceled for about a year and a half. So last September, when we all went there, you can watch the video in my feed. Just look for Vinendal. And 2022. And we had a lot of fun there. But we're going to go back again this Saturday. So we will film that. And one of the things that hey, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for showing up. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing there, well, I'm not thinking about doing there, is initiating a little bit of a trade. I've got some pedals here, particularly this Hall of Fame and this Nuix tuner, which ironically I said it's all the tuner that I need, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And as it turns out now, it's been made redundant by the Zoom multi-stomp. That made this redundant, and it has a built-in tuner, so it made this one redundant as well. It's saving space on my board. So I'll be taking those along with a few other pedals I have down here with me and see if we can do a pedal swap this week. There is something that I am looking for. As you know, it's a continuous journey with me with my pedal board here. And I'm like 95% there, guys. I'm as they say in Japanese, giddy, just on the edge. And the only thing is the overdrive now. Although my Klon copy, as I've mentioned before, it was professionally made. It was made in LA and professionally made, and it's got good components to it. It's really a great Klon copy. It's just somehow I'm looking for just a little bit more oomph. Hey, Anthony, welcome. So this week I was looking at overdrives. I was taking into consideration of what I'm trying to build here with this board, as I've mentioned it before. And if you're new here, this pedal board is to emulate basically a Fender amp, Fender, whatever deluxe. And all of the pedals that I'm using. Hey, Mickey, welcome, sir. Good to see you here. All of the pedals that you see here really actually are kind of based on Fender circuits. So I looked at a couple of them. The DOD, Looking Glass? So the DOD Looking Glass I was looking at. And I was looking at the Wampler, what is that? Sovereign. So I was looking at those two pedals, the Wampler Sovereign and the DOD Looking Glass. Both of those are very similar to each other. Both of those are transparent overdrives that will not change, they won't alter the tone of what you got, whatever you're putting through it. But almost as a boost, Uh, yeah. Almost as a boost, overdrive. There's a couple of words for it. You hear organic, overdrive. Which some people make fun of that term. Transparent overdrive is a more popular term. Something that doesn't really alter your signal, and I really like the Fender cleans and the tones that I'm getting through this board. I'm just looking for something when I want to give myself an overdrive, slight gain, not a lot. I don't do metal, but I'd like to. If I, and the Wampler Sovereign, that one is actually between the two is looking like the one that I'm going to go with because that thing is a quintessential transparent overdrive. However, if once looking at the demos of it and reading through the manual, once you kind of get to know it, you can tune in a whole lot of different types of overdrive sounds, gain sounds. So the same thing with the Looking Glass from DoD. However, the Wampler, I believe I was watching him talk about that, and with the Sovereign, he again was basing it off a Fender circuit. So, that fits my pedal board. So it's looking like that one. So what I'll do is see if I can find one at Vinendal. It's not just vintage guitars that they have there. They also have a great deal of pedals. It's actually one of the better pedal shows. So this time, I think instead of focusing on the guitars, I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking at the pedals at the show when I go and film. And let's see if I can do a trade and see if I can find first the Wampler. There's a lot of pedal dealers there. And they have a lot of stuff, and I'm 75% sure that I can find that one. So will be interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see what happens. So those are my plans for Vinendal. And of course, you guys will be there along with me because I'm going to film it. This week in terms of topics, guys, honestly, actually, I didn't write any down because two reasons. I have on my main topic, but I don't have it's usually A topic, B topic, C topic with me with these live streams. But tonight, I thought that I would just kind of free flow through it a little bit, not out of laziness, not that I didn't have things that I didn't want to talk about. I just wanted to see what comes up and see how that works as a format. Maybe, so let's try that out. I will touch upon my first topic, the topic that I titled this, it's time to say I'm good on buying gear. And, I'll give you guys a little bit of something that I've kind of hinted that I have an opportunity to start having more guitars come through this channel to review, to unbox, and things like that. And that's actually so. That is true. That is coming. But again, this is a sort of a side business thing that I'm getting involved with a partner in Japan. So, it's not for me personally. On a personal level, I talk about the pedals, but if you notice, I'm doing those one at a time. And Mickey was kind enough to send me one. So it's like 2 out, 1 in. Which is cool, because I get to try a lot of different ones. But my primary focus on my own personal gear at this point is that I'm good. And I am alarmed by a couple of things that I want to talk about tonight that I've been reading. We don't have a lot of people watching tonight, but the core guys are here, so I think I can. You guys know me enough, so we can talk candidly here tonight about this subject. Why do I say I'm good on my own personal gear, not something that I'd be doing on a business side? Well, because I am alarmed by economic headwinds that I see. I don't want to keep this channel to just talking about, oh, this has a germanium circuit or it just has such diodes. I want to get a little bit more into the broader markets here tonight, or in general with you guys, because I feel you do appreciate it when I have put my perspective on things that I see coming. And I don't see good things coming, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. If we go over, I'm sure some of you may be aware of what's going on with the Silicon Valley Bank issue going on over in Silicon Valley, how that bank collapsed, and how there's a lot of other banks that were tied into that in different parts of the United States. Interesting how the big boys got bailed out on that one. And they found out on Thursday. The retail was public found about it on Saturday, and everybody else is going to find out about it tomorrow when it hits the markets. But that's one thing. That's not good. It could be a one-off thing. It could be, we are wearing good things. It's definitely not coming, unfortunately. Yeah, Ben. And then we touched upon last week about the Guitar Center. And I dug a little deeper into that this week. And some of the comments that were made on that live stream down in the comments section. And by the way, guys, always make your comments down there. I read those and I will comment on them in the next show. As in this case, somebody was pointing out to me that I stated that I don't think that they're going to go to Guitar Center is going to go to junk bond status. But it was pointed out to me that the rating that they currently hold is on their corporate level about the equivalent of junk bond status. And this is where this title video will be going. You may not be too interested. You may want to go get a drink afterwards. Something stronger than the strawberry juice I'm drinking. I might switch up myself here. It's alarming to me, guys, because it's not just, when you look at these kind of things, I've learned that you have to think not just 4-dimensionally, but even 5-dimensionally. You really have to look at this thing in a lot of different angles from a lot of different points to kind of see where the overall roads are going. Actually, go Oilers, yeah. Go Oilers. So, the status of the Guitar Center and where they're at, their rating, actually is pretty close to junk status, it was pointed out to me. And with these tight and bank contagion, even the whiff of it, like the Silicon Valley Bank thing, is going to tighten up, of course, credit. And there may not, I was skeptical last week, but there may not be a bailout for the Guitar Center this time. Every time, I'm starting to think that this may be, where that is heading with them. Okay, so there's that. The other thing that, we've been talking about this, continuously for months and months now, is I go through Reverb, because again, I have to know what's going on out there for other things that I'm doing. But when I go through Reverb and I'm looking at what's going on, there are a lot of discounts. The discounting has begun. It has become apparent, I think, finally, those guys who bought high during the C-word time, I think finally they're starting to capitulate a little bit. I think they're starting to slash their prices on a lot of their gear. As a matter of fact, a lot of gear that I've been following is starting to show discounts, and they're steep discounts, 250 on some, 500 on others, depending upon what it is. And it is, the it's really, one of many indicators, but it is an interesting thing to look at, how this has become absolutely a buyer's market. However, still wouldn't buy it. It's going to get a lot worse. I really do. Let's just play a game out. Let's game this out. What if Guitar Center does fail, and you're looking at liquidation of their stock? And Sweetwater, will they buy up a certain amount of it? Maybe. But there certainly is going to be a liquidation of their stocks out there that will go. They may even have a liquidation sale, much like PV did many years ago. They were closing their factory up, and they did a liquidation sale. I almost bought an amp off of them. It's just the shipping cost to Singapore was too much. But they just said, okay, here's all the stuff that was returns or didn't get shipped out or whatever, and they had it by lots, and you could basically make a bid on it. But something like that could occur. There could be liquidations, and with those liquidations, how would that affect the broader retail market? How would that affect the secondhand market? Not good. Not good if you're a seller. I think there's steep discounts coming up. Is really what I'm starting to think, and I wouldn't buy right now. Like I said, this is not the time to think about buying anything, really seriously, unless you really have a purpose for it, like a specific need. But I would keep, as they say, keep my powder dry at this moment, because it's looking ugly out there. And it may even be so that you'll be glad that you didn't buy anything, that you held on to your cash. It may even be one of those kind of situations. This is potentially not good. I think we all have a sense of that. I think we're all feeling that. Again, we come here on Sunday nights to get together and kind of confab a little bit about what we're seeing, what we're thinking, how we feel about these issues, and just keeping it, as they say, 100%. I myself personally, I'm really looking to batten down the hatches. Now, I fortunately, we'll see, am kind of in a position where I am a buyer, with some things that I have planned coming up here. But yeah, the way the market is going, it's best to hold on to what you got. Yeah. But I am myself being super cautious. I read this story about this guy who thought he was smart. As I told you guys, I read Zero Hedge, the website, a lot. That's like one of my main news head sites. Every morning I go through the news, and that's one of the first ones that I look at. This guy was telling his story about how he thought that Silicon Valley Bank shares were down 40%. He thought it was an excellent time to buy. Not 24 hours. The next day, the bank was seized by the feds, which means all bets off on any kinds of stocks on that. They're worthless at that point. So don't be that guy. Don't try to be slick and think, let me get into this Les Paul here right now, because you may find out that even at that price, it can go a lot lower. We're playing, what is that? The limbo, and where they lower the broom down and everybody's got to go underneath it. We're playing the limbo, or if that's the name, yeah, I think that's the name of it. Basically, with prices right now. You know, and it can go a lot lower. It can go shockingly low, and I always wonder. I heard that Fender is opening up their equivalent of the Gibson Custom Shop in Nashville. They're opening up their equivalent, the Fender Custom Shop. You can buy all kinds of models of Fenders there, but primarily as a custom shop in Tokyo, in Akihabara, I believe. And I I really wonder, about those kind of moves at times like these. Um, they don't look in the short term. They are, they do have the foresight to look down the road. And obviously, there's something down the road where they think that there's something they're worth investing in and building something like that in Japan. Um, Now, I had to do a business plan, write a business plan back in January. And part of the research for that business plan was looking at the sales market of guitars in Japan. Japan, 80% of its guitars produced domestically stay domestic. The other 20% go out of the country through various methods. Uh, they are in an oversaturated market there. Actually, I said 80. I think it's 90%. I'm sorry, between 80 and 90% is domestic sales only. And so they have an oversaturated market where they are really looking to find ways to start exporting more guitars out and finding different venues. And it's kind of like bringing your own cake to the bakery kind of thing with Fender. I think it's like, okay, you're entering into an already oversaturated market, which, by the way, in that market, they have some of the finest examples of everybody's guitars that you can imagine, all the way up to and including a few, 58, 59, 60, Gibson Les Pauls that can be found. Classic Gretches, uh, you name a year of Stratocaster and TC Gaki up there in was that Ota in Tokyo, they have pretty much one every year from the 50s. They have a no-caster, they have a broadcaster. So no, there is no shortage of excellent vintage and new, by the way, guitars in that market. But they are finding some reason to expand that kind of thing. So you have to think, what do they see down the line? So are they being smart? Or are they being dumb? And or are they being blinded? I can't call that one, but it is something that I am. I'd be interested to hear what you guys thought about it, either here or down in the comments on that particular issue about Fender opening up their custom shop in Japan. But really custom garage kind of, like Fender garage kind of thing. But all of these things, if I look at all of them together, again, as was pointed out here, it's kind of, I just came to the conclusion again. I really like the motto of this show. I'm good. I'm seriously, we're going to do coffee cups of that. It is very interesting, because on one hand, you've got the failing of the Guitar Center and all the negative economic headwinds. And on the other hand, you got Fender, investing not a little bit of coin into expanding their operations like that, which means, and what is that going to do to the price value of Fender Japan guitars? There's a whole lot of things on that. Every Fender guitar that I had, that I owned, My basses and Telecasters were Fenders. Japan though, Fender Japan. So then they were nowhere near the cost of what it cost for a Fender, even in Mexico. But yeah, dig that. It's all very interesting. So I just look at this. I'm throwing this because I see these things. I read this stuff. I try to read the tea leaves as best as I can when I can, where I can. But I think we all can pretty much will sense that something no good, something wicked this way comes. And so again, I'm taking the approach that I'm good. I'm talking about trading things, trading pedals up and doing small things like that is basically where it's at for me on a personal level, my personal stuff that I have. I am in really need of nothing, so I'm good. I have actually tamed the demons of gas. Somewhat. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm 100% cured, but I am in steep recovery from gas. Because the more I look around, the more I get nervous. I've always been a very conservative player myself financially. I've always been very conservative to be. I've had to because of the life that I've lived, where I was moving around. Thankfully, guys, I can pretty much say that this Amsterdam's going to be my permanent home. So this is where I shall be going forward. My days of moving around are finally over, and I'm not sorry for them, but I am thankful. Gas is no joke. It sneak up on you. Well, yeah, and that's going to lead in train of thought, free throw of thought. That leads into the next thing because all this stuff is coming out. The retailers have figured out, and I talked about this when I said is NAM no longer a pertinent thing. I talked about this, a month or two ago. It seems as we're getting closer to NAM, a lot more guys are starting to ask that question as well on other YouTube channels. But I see that retailers are actually avoiding it. I think the NAM is pretty much well over. I think because of COVID, a new business model, a far cheaper one for the reasons I listed, transport, setup, sending gear over time, to a trade show like that, when honestly, you're gonna reach a far, far, far bigger audience through YouTubers. It's the truth. That is one of the powers of music equipment YouTubers, is that some of them, obviously not me, but some of them, and even the small ones and mid-sized ones, can have an impact as well on what you see, what gets put out in front of you. Last time I went to NAM, I told you guys that was back in the mid '90s before I left for Japan, and I'm sure it was a completely different animal now. NAM is not the same, especially distributors being cut out as the middleman and sellers doing more direct. Yeah, and that's it. So that model is dead. We discussed this before. Ideas that I had. I thought, because you had to have a pass. I don't know how it is now, but you had to have a laminated pass. You had to have a pass to get into NAM. I think if they made it an open to the public thing, that could help them. Of course, and try to attract artists to come and perform. But that could lead to a whole different security nightmare. So I don't know what they're going to do. But I think their goose is slowly cooked. And but there's a lot of stuff that's being put out now on YouTube in front of you every week. First it was the Adam Jones. Oh, and then it was the Marshall reissuing their pedals, and then it was Epiphone coming out with the Flying V and the Explorer models, and and God knows what it's going to be next week. It's going to be something every week. It's an endless, because the closer we get to NAMM, instead of NAMM, they're putting their stuff out, like this, through YouTube, and it's reaching a wider audience. And yeah, that's when it's hard to put the gas behind you, because you got that in your face. Uh, Sometimes you gotta put that away, put the phone down, or turn the computer off, and not look at it. Or if there's something that you're really interested in, do what I do. Just research the hell out of it first. Just say, oh, that's cool. Maybe let me try that. No, 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 no. Let me watch at least 5 or 6, 7, 8 YouTube videos on it. Let me see if I can find the manual. Let me see if I can find any kind of Guitar World written reviews on it. Let me research the heck. I mean, that's why I know the DoD Looking Glass and the Wampler Sovereign pedals before they even hit my door. I already know what they are, what they do, what they sound like, and which one either would do. But I hope I can find the Wampler, to be honest. But because, and another thing that does is sometimes I'll research myself out of something. I'll say, hey, upon further look at that, because remember I told you guys I was thinking about getting, not just replacing my overdrive section here, but my preamp section with this F1. I was sincerely considering getting the Warwiss AC1 or the Iridium. And I have to be honest with you, I researched both of those and I decided that I'm not going to do either. I'm not going to do it. I talked myself out of those by researching them, because the Warwiss is out because you can't turn the cab emulator off on that thing. And I need that like a hole in it. As I said, my Cab Zeus covers the 1x12s that I'm trying to emulate. The Iridium you can, but it's not going to add any. I mean, it's really not going to add anything to what I'm trying to do. I decided, yeah, cool. I can switch to an AC tone. I can switch to a Marshall stack tone, but I really have based my personal sound off of Fender, tone, and so I don't really need that. The F1, I'll be honest with you guys, this F1 is one of the finest, pedal-based Fender emulations I've heard, and I've been through a lot of them. So I said, I'm happy with it, and I talked myself out of making that purchase. I researched it. I looked into them both. I looked at what they did. I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. If I do not find, I know the pedal that I want, the two that I'm looking at, I can take my time. I'm not going to buy them new. I advise buying against anything new if you can avoid it, because you are going to pay the new tax on that, especially in this market. But if I can find them secondhand, I'm going to pick one or the other up, and either one of them do. Like I said, I do have one isn't the preference, but yeah, the Iridium and the Warwiss, I researched my way out of it. I just decided I'm good. It's not really going to add anything to what I'm trying to achieve here. At the same time, also, I told you guys my Mac, died on my main Mac here that I do my editing and stuff on, and computer and actually music work on, died on me. And even that I've been really hemming and hawing on, what to replace it with. So a deal for what, and even those I'm not buying new. I'm looking at a used Mac. But I saw one that I liked. It was actually a rack mount. I was gonna rack it right here, and I pulled the trigger on it, called the guy up, and said, "Hey, I'm calling about that rack mount Mac that you have." And he said that I got a guy coming in who just asked for it before you. If he doesn't show up, I'll give you a ring. He didn't give me a ring. So even in that, I'm gonna see that's what I'm interested in now. Now I'm looking to see if I can find another one of those somewhere. So yeah, I'm very cautious these days. I guess the point of all of this, with where I spend and what I am buying, and I'm taking my time. I don't want to take up too much time because I can only do with my other Mac. It can I can do video editing. And by the way, this week's video that I just shot is talking about pedal swapping. But it's not the best for that for doing that kind of work because it's a little older and its process is a little slower. So the Mac thing is something that I really have to do, but I'm kind of dragging my feet on it because I'm trying to find the best deal that I can with what works with what I want to do. So yeah, the I'm good is strong with me. I'm not good. I really do need a replacement on Mac. But again, I'm going to try to hold out and see if I can get the best deal possible because it's not something that I see myself in. I bought this one 4 years ago to replace the one before that. That was used as well. So they last about 4 or 5 years, 5 years ago. So it's about time. But again, as I was with this one, I'm going to take my time. So I just shared that with you guys, my own personal kind of journey. I hate that word. I hate that word. Oh, it's my journey, but I guess it works. My own personal voyage. Let's use that one instead. As I navigate through just doing my thing. And if that helps you out, if that gives you any kind of inspiration or anything helpful, I'm glad to share it with you. I'm very transparent, as you guys know, with things. Mickey, I'm wondering if you got that package that I sent you or not yet. So let me know. Mickey was kind enough to send me something, actually twice. So I thought I would send him something, and I haven't heard anything on that. So keep an eye open for that. We are dealing with Dutch and British mail, so anyway, I thought I'd bring that up tonight. Yeah, how are we doing? Oh, great. Yeah, guys, no real topics tonight. Nothing heavy that I really wanted to get into because, again, last week was heavy enough in itself. However, talking about bank failure and and all that whatnot is not the most cheerful subject, but it is on my mind, and it has relevance to us as musicians, as studio owners, as as home giggers, because you want to know what's going on out there. I always said the system the way they have it, where you find yourself working, and if you're married and you got kids, then you're really putting all your time in that, and you're so busy just trying to keep your head up with that life that the other things that are going around that really directly affect you may be blinded to you. You may not be able to see it until it's too late. And so, me, well, I don't have any of those things. So I have a little bit more time in my older life to kind of look out and observe things a little bit. So I guess that's kind of good in its own way. It's not great. I don't regret my life on the road, but I will tell you that a life on the road is a life of give and take. And now that I'm done with that and looking back at it, again, not sorry one bit about it, 100%, but it was a lot of give and take. And so, however, it has one of the plus things, I suppose. It's allowed me to be able to sit back and to have the time to look at things a little bit more deeper, and then bring them to you guys every Sunday night. The pleasure of bringing it to you guys every Sunday night and seeing what you think about it. I'm curious to hear what you think I don't want this to be an echo chamber, of course. I'd like to hear your thoughts on these subjects because, again, I get educated a lot through you guys. I learned a lot of things. It's like that story with everybody was starving in the village, and the guy comes in with a stone, and he says to one villager, "Hey, do you have a kettle?" "Yeah, I got a kettle." Goes to another villager and says, "You have any water?" He says, "Yeah, I got some water." Goes to another villager and says, "You got any wood?" Collectively, these guys only had these one things, but when this guy who came in with the stone puts the wood down, puts the kettle on, lights the fire, heats up the water, and he drops the stone in, stands around it, stirs it a little bit, and he says, this could use a little seasoning. And somebody says, "Well, I got some old dried up carrots." And somebody says, "Well, I've got some old dried up onions." And somebody says, "Well, I have some." By the time everybody brought everything together, they had a meal that everybody could enjoy. And so I want these live streams to be a stone soup. Everybody brings a little something to it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. That's an old, I believe that one comes out of Africa. That's an old tale, stone soup. But the message of the story is collective. Everybody bringing in, something to the pot. And that's one of the things that I really dig about having this YouTube channel. And speaking of that, again, flow conscious thought, YouTube is off topic. How is the album? Oh, no, that's not off topic. I gave it over to my friend to master. He was going through some family things, to be honest with you guys, and he is my long lifetime friend, man. Me and him have known each other since we were teenagers, 18, 19 years old. That's how long I've known him, and I handed it over to him to master for me, but he's going through some things, so I said, "Hey, don't worry about it." I started going through the process of mastering it myself, but as you know, my computer died. And in any case, I could send it off to a mastering studio I know in Japan, but really, I don't trust those guys enough. Where if I'm not in the room going through it, that's not something I wanted to. Jock, I trust 100%. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the album. It's in limbo right now. It's here and recorded. It's fine. Again, I'm not going to release it until I've mastered it and then decide how I'm going to release it. I know, it seems weird that he's holding on to an album. I'm not one of those guys that records an album and then holds on it for 5 years. I'm not like that at all. As a matter of fact, this is the first one that I recorded. I finished it, what was that, September? No, you got to be in the room and you're just doing stuff. Yes, yeah, you got to be in the room. You really do. I did go to a mastering studio with my second album in Tokyo, Field Before the Woods, or no, the one before Field Before the Woods, The Deep End. And I mastered that, but I had to be in that studio, and I'm glad I was because, I had to say, hey, let's do a little of this, let's do a little of that. Not that they're not good mastering engineers, but they have a tendency to really deal in high frequencies. I don't think they hear low frequencies very well. That's just been my observation with my Japanese musician friends. Even they'll admit that. If you listen to J-pop music, that's why it's all really high register stuff, not a lot of bottom to it. That's just the way they hear things and how they mix it. And so, yeah, I'd have to be there. But but this album is with every one that I've recorded, I've always immediately put it out in some format. This is the first one that I've held on to, and I'm looking at it like at first I got depressed about it because I'm like, I was going to do this and this was going to happen, but fate kind of stepped in and said, put the brakes on this. September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Here we are. Over a half a year now since no, I'm sorry, that's not fair. I finished in October. So half a year, 6 months since I finished, and it's still sitting around. Actually, in the professional world, there's a lot of albums that are recorded and then they're released. At least it used to be that way when they were doing albums. 6 months is still, it's to 8 months is still not a bad period of time to be in for something, to be sitting on something. You really don't want to go any further than that, and I don't plan to. So yeah, so that's the other reason why getting a new Mac is pressing to me, so that I can master that. And I have mastering experience, and I do have mastering software, so I can do it. I really wanted somebody else's ears this time. But some people don't see your vision the way you do, so a little chance they can make or break a sound if you're willing working. Yeah, that's why I kind of trusted Jock, because I've been working with Jock since we were kids. Well, not kids, but since we were teenagers, young adults. And he knows my sound, I know his sound, and I just have to give him a reference point. I have to say, listen to this album, you know, and listen to and listen to the mix on these, listen to the overall of it, and he can go to town. I know who can come too far mastering stuff. Yeah, if I just have to tell him, listen to this album, and he's off to the races. He knows where you want to go, but unfortunately, like I said, he's going through some stuff right now, and let him deal with that as a good friend should. And I'd like to try to be a good friend, so I cannot let that depress me about it. It's just one of those things. So I kind of look at it as one of those things where it's going to end up okay. It may end up work out for me better than I thought 6 months ago. But I am going to release it, guys. Yeah, that's what's going on with it. And to be frank with you, and I've said this before, I've got another half of an album in my head. Most of them are complete. They have lyrics and the basic chord structure, and then I'll just build it from there. So I've got the next one in my head. Yeah, dig that. That's no lie, and I haven't even got this one out. So I need to. I think not having the Mac and not recording for the last few weeks has been good for me. I kind of gave me a kind of a break, and even in that, even when bad things happen, I've always seen in hindsight that there are silver linings to them, I guess is the point of this. And with the record, even with it now being 6 months sitting in the holding pen, there's got to be some reason for that. And when I do put it out, something's going to work out for it. But I do appreciate you guys asking, and I do appreciate you bringing that subject up, because I should fill you guys in on what's going on with that. Not happy about it, but not overly concerned yet. Clarity of vision, I think, is a need here as far as that's concerned. And because of all the other things that I've been doing for the last few months, I kind of even put that on the back burner as well, until I get other things situated. But now that things are starting to calm and the waters are starting to clear a little bit, I can put my focus back on that project again. First things first, I got to decide on what Mac to buy. I feel like Sheldon Cooper in Big Bang Theory trying to decide whether to buy the Xbox or the PlayStation. I get like that sometimes. But this one has this, but this one has this. So what do you think? But I need to do something about that. The rewiring of the studio coming along. Yeah, the rewiring of the studio, that's keyed into it as well. The Mac is the brain of the studio in that regard. However, again, I am trying to make it so that I'm not completely reliant on that. I have everything I need. I just need a Mac. The Big Bang Theory, yeah. Yeah, guys, I don't watch a lot of TV. As a matter of fact, I haven't had cable TV since 2009 or 10. I used to utilize iTunes where if there was a TV show that I was interested in, I would download it and watch it that way. And then the advent of streaming came along, and you know, you could sign up to these streaming channels. So recently, after a 11-year hiatus, I broke. Well, streaming is not the same thing as cable. I don't have cable TV. I don't have that. I have Wi-Fi. That's all I'm running. But I got HBO Max, and I started watching. And I you know, I'm not cool watching everything, but I started watching Big Bang Theory again because it used to be one of my favorite shows. I liked that, and there's just some shows that I'll watch. Grimm. I like that TV show Grimm. I'll watch that all the way over. Trust me, you're not missing anything on cable to avoid it like the plague. Yeah, that's what everybody's told me, that I haven't missed anything. I don't think I have. Watching HBO Max, at least I can watch the old shows that I kind of like, that I used to download from iTunes, which makes me feel stupid now because, you know, I was paying $39 for a season of Big Bang Theory, and here it is, they got all of them, you know, for $7 a month. You know, I guess on one hand I own it, but on the other hand, you know, it's kind of redundant. But yeah, I've avoided that. And it's interesting. I don't watch a lot of TV. The movies too. I got it really because you know, the thing that made me sign up is I wanted to watch The Cabin in the Woods. I like that movie. I think that movie is supposed to be a horror movie, but it's just hilarious to me. And I said, who has it? Oh, damn it, HBO Max. All right. And they actually started HBO Max here in the Netherlands. So I signed up for it. I broke down. And so I'm watching that. Yeah, Big Bang Theory. I'm deep into season 6 now. Yeah, guys. So Vinendal this week is coming up. And so we are going to film that. We are going to take a look at that. I'll look at it. Is there any guitars in particular you guys are interested in me filming and taking a closer look at? I can do that. Are you even interested in vintage guitars? Is anybody out there really interested in vintage guitars? They're interesting in some regards. I'm just, after, again, like, I'm spooked on some of those vintage, especially the Strats, like I said. Because you know, you better know what you're doing when you buy one of those things, because they got swapped to hell back in the day. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not going to focus this time too much on filming guitars, but I'm gonna make it more of a pedal thing, since my focus now is on pedals, not so much guitars for myself personally. Yo, film them, especially the traditional ones. Yeah, okay, I can do that. I'll film those. I'll look at some of the cool ones. I'll pepper in ones that I think are unique. And they have some great stuff. You know, a lot of good stuff came over here to Europe via American musicians for the last 5 decades. That's been floating around. One of the Collector Choice series, which were Gibson's custom shop, kind of early custom shop kind of way of duplicating famous 59 and 60 Les Pauls. One of the Collector's Choice number 12 was one that came from here, from Holland. It was a 59 burst that a jazz musician, or a 60 burst that a jazz musician had. That survived a fire. It had quite a story to it. And so yeah, there's a lot of cool guitars that made it over here. And so I will see if I can find any. So consider this to be pedal week, however. The regular programming, I'll edit that here after I sign off and get that done before I go to bed, will be about pedals. No vintage, but the Yamaha Rev Stars would be a good one, or the Japanese modifier. Yeah, you know, I'm so glad you brought up about the Rev Stars. I I'm going to be looking. That is a guitar I'm going to be looking at there. I'm going to be looking at the Revstar R20 Professional. Um, I think I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe you guys would fill me in that they're not going to be producing those anymore. Yeah, underrated. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Revstar, Yamaha Revstars are underrated. And I think the pros, now I'm talking about the top of the line, these are the ones that are made by Fujigen in Japan. So this is the Pro Series. These things are, well, at least over here in Europe, they're going for, in the States, they're going for about 1900 bucks. They're not cheap. If they aren't producing those anymore, and those have a great, even the next tier down, the RS, which is around $900, those are excellent guitars. And I think that if they're not producing it, the rumor is true, and they're not going to be producing those anymore. If that's something that you're interested in getting, that may be one of the guitars that somewhat holds its value. On a last note, again, stream of thought, another thing I observed, even looking at the Epiphones from Japan, because as again, I've been researching Japanese guitars a lot. I've been wanting one of those high-end Revstars for the longest, but it's sold out or back ordered. Yeah, that's the other thing, is getting one, is getting your hands on one. If I see one of those at the show, yeah, I will take note of that. But, never mind on that other subject. That's a digression on a digression. But yeah, all right, guys. I will look at the Revstar for sure because I do think that it is something that is underrated. I'm curious about them, and I'd really like to check out the meat on those because if you're into buying one of those, I think if it is true that they are certainly backed up, that is true. Whether they are going to be producing that model line anymore remains to be seen, but that is the rumor. So I'll look at that. Yeah, I can do that, Revstar. I was going to look at that anyway. What a coincidence. See, great minds think alike. Anyway, before I start, yeah, I had a little digression there, but I think I'll save that for the next time because I got to get to this editing, guys. And I would like to get to bed at a reasonable time. So I think that we will call a little short this evening. We'll call it at this point. Yeah, guys, that's what's coming up. It's going to be the pedal. We're going to be talking about pedals this week. That's going to be the main focus. So I'm going to talk, first of all, the regular program is going to be about the process of swapping these. Wow, look at that. Look at all of, that is cat hair, by the way, guys. This is what I have to deal with. Look at that. I could knit a sweater out of that. Holy crap. How did that so much... Well, I don't have the Velcro on this. I think my cat has been, sleeping on my pedals. This is the bane of my existence. I don't have kids, but I got a lot of cats and dogs. Or dog and cats. But I do love them so that's okay. It's going to be the pedals. So we're going to talk about swapping these and some of the different ways that I go about doing that. I'm going to talk about some of the local guys that do pedal swaps and also going down to a place like Veenendaal when they're having a pedal show and trying to do something like that. And then, of course, in Veenendaal, I don't know if I'm trying to decide. I'm going to look at the edit tonight. I'm going to try to decide if I can take that little bit that I filmed here in the studio and maybe mix it in with the video at Veenendaal and see how that goes. That's kind of my train of thought on that. So if you don't see a new show this week, know that before the live stream next Sunday, there will be one on the weekend. That's if I decide to put those two footages together. If not, then just what I've already shot. So that's the plan. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah, guys, I really want to thank you every Sunday for showing up. I do enjoy sitting here and talking and seeing you guys. Seeing you as best I through the magic of YouTube. Hey, thanks. I will get into that digression. You know what? Speaking of YouTube, I'm sorry, guys. I will talk about that a little bit because I've been reaching on this a little bit. That YouTube really is trying to compete with TikTok. Great show as always. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And so they're putting a lot of pressure, on channels to produce shorts. I've started to put out shorts. There will be another one this week. But as a channel, especially one that's on the breakthrough of hitting 2,000 subscribers, I'm just a few hundred away from hitting that. 200 away or less than 200 away from hitting that 2,000 mark. And when you hit that plateau, then of course the algorithm recognizes you and you start to climb up from there. So I'm right on the verge of a breakthrough as far as this channel is concerned. And I'm not going to say that it hasn't been out of a lot of work over the years. It's free work because you certainly don't get paid for it. So you're either doing it because you're looking, multitude of reasons, but it really comes down to you're doing it. Well, there again, if I had, a set on me like this and I look like a lot prettier than this, I'm sure I'd have a lot more followers because that seems to be the wave, man. If my God, the amount of, booby sites on YouTube is just, and the amount of followers, and it's like, man, why can't I get that following? But I'm sure you guys don't want to see me in a bikini. So I'm going to have to make do with my progress the way it is. But it's not easy is the point of this. And it takes a lot of work. But it's really done through the support of you guys, regardless of what YouTube does and how they pressure me, what they want us to do, me or other creators. It really comes down to you guys, your support. And I like to always end up everything by thanking you for your support through this platform. As you know, I don't do social media. I have Instagram accounts. But the only reason I open those up is so that nobody could take them away. Try to take that away just so I had a pin on that. That's my account. But I don't use them. This is how I have gathered the 1,800 so far, plus subscribers that I have, and it's been one at a time. And you know what? It's been a lot more fulfilling that time, that way, because I feel that building it like this, one subscriber at a time, has been more fulfilling than just getting a bunch of people, just because you're the latest trend. No, this is sincere, and the type of people that I have subscribed to the channel are really quality, wonderful subscribers. I don't have any, trolls. I don't have any trolls at all. I had a troll when ironically, when I wasn't even 100 subscribers, I had a troll then. Now that I'm doing better, I haven't had a troll, and I can't be more, trolls are welcome too. Whatever, but I haven't had one, and I've just had quality folks like you, and so thank you. No matter how hard YouTube makes it on us as creators, it really comes down to you as an audience and your support. So I'd like to always thank you guys so much, whether it's just a handful of us or a number of us every week. I want to thank each and every one of you. If you're new, and you're just checking this live stream out the first time and you like what you see, why don't you join in? Subscribe to the channel and join in on the conversation. We'd love to have you. All right, guys, I will get to editing on my slow-ass Mac. It's going to take an hour to render. like 5 minutes of footage. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, but anything for you guys. In any case, have a good week, and I will see you again live next Sunday. You guys take care. Bye-bye.